Good afternoon. How are you doing? Everybody okay? Surviving? Been watching the war all morning. It's quite addictive, isn't it? In a horrible way. Just been watching BBC News and watching everything going on and Biden pottering around. He's old. Afternoon, Ken, Ali, John, Harold, JC, Alistair, Hamza, Jimmy, Megatron, Fletch, Crom, Julio, XR8Date.news. How are we doing? Ismet, Tom, Martin, David, Figinia, Prince. Good afternoon, Emac from LA. Very good. Must be sunny there. It's raining here. Afternoon, Johnny. Johnny Crash. Good name. Right. So banked this morning, 1.3%. Pound CAD. Look at this for a TP. That was the H1 RSI extension entry from Friday. We're on Wednesday, aren't we? Monday, sorry. Yeah, couldn't have got much more accurate than that. Look at that for a TP. Propulsion. Straight in, straight out. So TP'd on that this morning, and I took that oil off. So if you're in the live room this morning, I said about oil doing the gap fill. It's just done it. So gap fill's done if you wanted to get into oil. It hasn't actually 100% done it, but it's done it near as damn it. So we've just pushed down into the gap. That's probably as far as they need to go on that to be done. Push back up again. So took off one oil this morning. Still have one running. Yeah, and I'll keep adding oil and just keep adding it. It keeps coming down. I'll keep adding it because anticipating this continuing to rally. So they've got the gap fill done. So potentially you could get in now if you want to. Potatoes, i.e. Joe Obama sucks. Potatoes. Okay. No idea what that means. Sorry. Afternoon, Marco, Mumo. Nothing much else moving at the minute. The yen pairs, the US dollar yen is really stuck. Really stuck. Like, really stuck. Can't go anywhere at all. All the other yen pairs have, well, they're all kind of a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest, but they all rallied back up against that intervention move. They're all kind of just stuck at the moment. There's nobody got any balls apart from the Swiss franc to rally against the yen at the moment. So they're all kind of flip-flopping around at the minute. But US dollar yen specifically, since the intervention move, they are really not interested in going up there. We had that big pop yesterday, which was the just the Japanese announcing stuff. But yeah, pretty stuck, basically. Most of the stuff that I'm in is just stuck at the minute. So I'm banking lots, months going very well, but I seem to be just stuck in a lot of stuff. So there's no news today. We've had the news this morning, which was the CPI on the pound, came out at 6.7. So that was a non-move. They were forecasting a drop. We actually got an as expected or as last time, which is slightly bullish for the pound, but not really any reaction to it. So again, market's just not really interested at the minute with what's going on. A little bit of weakness coming into the pound actually at the moment, but with what's going on in Israel at the moment, everything is kind of just flip-flopping. No one's really making any big moves because you don't know where you need to put your money. So we're just hanging around. I suspect we'll get some rallying on the Swiss franc, the US dollar, and potentially on the yen as soon as the ground invasion starts, if it starts, and the US get involved if Iran start on Israel, which they've said they're going to. It could all flare up very, very quick. So, but we'll see. At the minute, we're just kind of in a holding pattern. This morning's DAX, I got out this morning a bit lucky, actually, $380. So I got hedged this morning. It rallied down into propulsion. I said here, don't like the look of this. And it flipped up before I could do anything about it and got hedged long. So just been watching it all morning. And then finally we pushed back down. So I played basically the short play off of there. So I got out of the longs when we got back to that, anticipating a retest of the lows, which I took the shorts off at. So managed to get out tiny profit this morning, but that's very, very difficult to trade today. The rest of the indices, we've got earnings pre-market today. Let me just quickly check financial juice. Yeah, we've got them out. Okay, so Morgan Stanley is a beat. Procter tops earnings, so that's a beat as well. And Adidas shares climb after a boost. Who was the other one we've got today? Morgan Stanley. Oh, it's just Morgan Stanley and Procter & Gamble. Okay, so those two basically stocks are up on those. Earnings are beats. So don't know what index that's in. That's in the Dow. So we should hopefully get a little bit of a rally on the Dow. At the moment, NASDAQ's down ever so slightly, not really much. So we're pretty much sideways there. The Dow sideways, S&P sideways. So basically, no real movement so far today. So potentially little rally out the highs, looking at testing maybe yesterday's high on the Dow. We'll see where we go at the open. But we'll see what happens when we get the breaks. We got 1 minute to go. So no other news today. We've had the building permits come out. Building permits don't really tend to do anything. We've got oil inventories at 330. So oil will probably get a spike off of that at 330. Other than that, we've got nothing but Waller and Harker speaking later today. Tomorrow overnight, we need to be aware of Aussie dollar unemployment rate. So we are going to get some movement off of the Aussie dollar overnight. So anything you're holding Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar could have ADRs overnight. So just be careful of those. Give me a sec. So yeah, so that's it for earnings. Other than that, there's not been any news this morning, really. Iran basically calling for an oil embargo against Israel. But I mean, this is just stuff that isn't really going to impact unless it all kicks off over there. I was just seeing if there's any other news. Okay, so oil exports to Western ports are set to decline in November. Okay, that's fine. So we'll see where we go at the open. We'll have a look at the FX pairs in a minute. So pre-market range is a little too tight on the S&P, so not trading that pre-market. Same with the NASDAQ, but the Dow pre-market range is tradable. So I will take the pre-market on the Dow, and I'll wait for the 5-minute opening ranges to go in for the NASDAQ and the S&P. Right, just catch up on the chat. There's nothing to catch up on. All your FX trades are using 0.25% a trade. No, they're using 0.1. Long on the Dow. Okay. So the Dow, we're obviously, oh, blimey, that's come back very fast. I was just going to say, we're buying straight into the pre-market highs, which have been rejected 3 times now. The limit orders triggered there very quick. You saw that we put her head out the top and immediately got slammed by the sellers. So I was going to say, we've got to get out of the pre-market highs before we can rally up. So the high here, you can't see it, it's just behind the info panel up there, but the high here of yesterday is target to the upside, hedged on the Dow. So downside target, yesterday's low is the first target to the downside, and obviously upside we're looking at yesterday's high. We'll see what sort of reaction we get at these levels. A little bit too tight for putting targets at. They're only like 2R and 3R. So I might leave these at 5R at the moment. Oh, sorry, I got an itchy nose. ADR is all the way down there. And to the upside, ADR is all the way up there. So we've got quite a long way. There's no upside resistance on the Dow. So we'll see where we go. But whippy open today. NASDAQ, not really going anywhere at the moment. S&P not really going anywhere either. So see what happens on that. Okay, we'll come back to this in a sec. We've got 2 minutes to the candle close. So I was just going to say, we haven't had any ADRs today, he says, as two things hit ADR. So we've basically fairly quiet morning, as you can see. So it's all a bit quiet. We've just had Euro Swiss hit and New Zealand Swiss. So it looks like the Swiss franc is rallying. Just seeing if something's happened. Basically, obviously, the Swiss franc is a safe haven currency. So we will see a big rally into the Swiss franc, i.e. everything coming down against the Swiss franc if something kicks off in the Middle East. So there's some more buying coming in for the Swissy. So as you can see, that's just come off, when that chart updates, it's just come off that low fairly quick there. So that looks like just a big Swiss franc order has just been executed. So you won't be able to get a reversal alert off of that because the alert will be all the way up there, which you could obviously take if you want to, but you're looking at kind of half an ADR of movement there. That's just going on in on the Euro Swiss and the New Zealand dollar Swiss. So big, strong move into the Swiss franc again today. Difficult to tell what's happening with this Swissy. Obviously, this is what happens when you get a safe haven run. So this is them buying the Swiss franc into the weekend. Quite often, if nothing's happened, you tend to find them get undone. But obviously, we've had escalation. So it's likely that they will power the Swiss franc up. It'll all undo itself after a while, but it will tend to power up first. So we'll see where we go with those. But other than that, there's no ADRs today. Weekly, we've got an Aussie New Zealand. So we looked at this one this morning in the live room in Frankfurt. This is 175%, I think, of its weekly range now. Yeah, 175% of its weekly. We had a little bit of a gap down here. But even with that gap removed, we're still roughly 150 on the weekly range. So big, strong move there. We're just coming up into this potential support here. So this area we've tested multiple times over and over again. Then we finally broke through it and retested it. And this is exactly where we are now. So potentially this is a good level to start selling from. We're really extended on the hourly and embedded. We have been for a couple of days. 4-hour RSI is above the 80 level. It's very rare we get above the 80 level and don't have some kind of pullback, if not a proper retracement. Yeah, 50% retracement on the moves. Yeah, so you'd be looking at a pullback down into here somewhere. So I'm short on this one already. I've got 2 positions on this. TP, as you can see, for me, is in this propulsion gap. So this is the accumulation. That's the break. So I'd be looking for a retest of that level for them to buy again. But we have got news. So overnight, we've got the Australian unemployment rate. If that unemployment rate comes out higher than expected, i.e. we get a 3.8 or more, the Australian dollar will come down. If we get a 3.6 or less, the Australian dollar will go up. If we get a 3.7, could go either way. So it will be dependent, obviously, on tomorrow morning's news as to which way this one goes. But they're certainly buying into it. So it would indicate that they're expecting the unemployment figures to come down. So we'll see. But that's what I'm looking for, push back down into that area there. And obviously, if it continues to the upside, you've got this massive area of balance that we sat in for weeks on end. Anywhere in there, you will find some sellers. We got multiple sell orders that came in, obviously, as we started that move down. So anywhere in here, we're probably going to find we get some kind of resistance, which will push back. And as soon as they push back with the sellers, all these people that have bought will start to exit their positions and come sellers. And obviously, it will just start. So there we go, Aussie New Zealand. So that's the only ADR average weekly range hit we've got. And there's a couple of the ADRs as well today, but they're not very good because they're Swiss franc and they're big moves. Aussie New Zealand is extended, as we know, on the 4-hour and the hourly. So those are the RSI extensions. Let me just check the long on the NASDAQ. Not trading the S&P today. Range is too small. So that pre-market range was too small. That opening range is too small. That's less than 10% of its average daily range. It's done there. So not really gone far enough today to get into a break on that. NASDAQ, I'm long. And obviously hedged at the moment on the Dow. So we'll see where we go on that. NASDAQ, if we're going to the upside, yesterday's high, so 2 hours well within yesterday's high, this area here that we tapped into. This is the previous day's high, this dotted line here. So yesterday's high, previous day's high. So if we're going to break to the upside, that's where I'd look for some limit order triggers. And then obviously we'll see if we push up above it. If we're going to break to the downside, yesterday's low is just down there. But if I get hedged on this one, just going to have to wait and see as well. Really, really whippy today. Really difficult downside as well on this NASDAQ today. That's obvious support. So that's yesterday's low. So that's where I would say, right, yeah, probably a good place to get out. But that's too close. Look at ADR. It's all the way down there. So if I get out here of the shorts, expecting a bounce, and we don't get that bounce, that's going to go into drawdown far too much and become too expensive. So see what happens. I'll wait and see what happens on these. If the NASDAQ hits target, I'll probably just close out the Dow hedge because I've done $350 odd on that this morning. So that'll give me a bank for the day. But see where we go. Dow is really falling down. I'm quite surprised this is going south today because we've got positive earnings on Dow stocks. So quite why they're selling this off, I don't know. Maybe we've got a run in the US. US dollars up to. Just fell in the Dow, aren't they? Getting rid of some Dow stocks. Don't know why. So yeah, ADRs, RSIs, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar I've already covered. CAD Swiss is extended on the 4-hour, even more so now. So CAD Swiss, big extension on the 4-hour. We've been extended multiple times on this. I'm long on it from here, which was the H1 extension and H4. Why's my pen gone weird? There we go. As you can see, this has just gone sideways for a week. Little bit of a drop. Sideways for a week. Little bit of a drop. Yeah, it's just grinding away. Oil is rallying and should continue to rally. So I would expect us to keep moving up on this with oil. But obviously, the Swiss franc is going to be a big part of what happens with this movement with Israel, etc. So, the money will fly into this Swiss franc, basically. So this could continue just to rally down. But we will see. It's nicely extended at the moment. So not really something that you're going to see a profit take on, though. That move there, I would expect a pullback on. This isn't the sort of thing you would expect them just to do a profit take move on. This is a grind. So I'll probably be looking for somewhere down here at these monthly lows. Yeah. So just be on 225 ADR to get some proper bounce out of. That is assuming they continue to rally into the Swissy, which we don't know. Other than that, the only other extensions you've got are Euro New Zealand. Extended to the upside. That's just coming out of extension now. We had a reverse alert on that on the 4-hour this morning. I've got shorts on that already, which is the hourly. So So I got in on the hourly H1M5 mean reversion. So that was second entry. That was first entry there behind my head. So that was the first entry there. We just ground sideways for 2 days, pushed up. So looking for a pullback into 50% of that move. And pound New Zealand is extended on the 4 hour as well. This is really not going anywhere either. It's not a very good extension, not a good trade at all. Euro Swiss 125, really getting pushed, this Swiss franc. And New Zealand dollar Swiss coming down hard. So, yeah, good potential bounces on these. I'm long on this one as well. Got 2 positions on this. This is a terrible position. This is far too far apart, these trades. When I get the next reversal alert on this, I need 46, about 32. Not even going to get that on, am I? Where are we there? Yeah, I'm not going to get that on. What I might do... Blimey, it's a big sell-off. I need some green candles, basically, and then a new low to go in, so I get a reverse alert down here somewhere. But I might add a manual position on there as well, just to bring that average down a little bit more. Because this is too far apart. So I need, at the moment, one sort of about 125 ADR roughly, just to get back to break even on this, because that move there from there to there is far too big. ADR on this is 46. That's 73 pips. So I should have had 3 positions on by the time we got to this level. That sell-off was just far too fast, far too hard. Didn't get any bullish price action at all. So couldn't get an entry until all the way back down here. And that was yesterday. So I need to get another position on closer to that one to get this average down so that I can get out on a pullback. If it continues to rally down and we get a reverse alert down here, obviously that will bring the average down a bit more, but I will still add another position there to try and get out if we can get into that propulsion gap. I just want out of this one. It's not, it's just spaced really badly. Just a big run for the hills, wasn't it, on Friday for the safe havens. So, right, Dow still coming down. NASDAQ still coming down. Blimey, this market is in a mess today. Look at it. Awful. No direction at all. Looks like I'm going to hedge on the NASDAQ as well. This is going to be a bad day. I haven't got anywhere I can get out of these either. Okay, so targets on these for exits. I'm not going to take yesterday's low. It's too close. So this low here, which is last week's low, is where I'm going to put targets to the downside. That's just under ADR. So basically at ADR low. So I want to see price down here before I try and get out of shorts. This is too close. The danger here is if you get out here and it just accumulates and drops, what you're doing is you're just taking a long position into massive drawdown, which is not good. So you can't get out too close. It may well bounce there and it might be the right thing to do, but if it's the wrong thing to do, it will cost 3, 4, 5% of drawdown. So it's not enough. It's not good to get out too close. It's bouncing now. Look, it's just literally going to whipsaw me into a hedge and then flip flop around. Look at that. You do. So upside on it. Yeah, I mean 5R. There's a possibility. I mean, obviously you got yesterday's high, previous day's high, high of the day before, and then last week's high, which is Friday's high. So, sorry, that's Friday's high. So that's Thursday's high. So this propulsion gap somewhere is ADR. So I'm just going to bring my TP down ever so slightly, just under ADR, and see if we can get an ADR hit on these, get into propulsion. If I get out there and it doesn't retrace, it will retrace from that high because we'll have limit orders triggering up at last week's high. There's definitely going to be limit orders at the weekly highs and lows. So if we can get a bounce off of that level, that will get me out. Bit of a crappy day today, isn't it? Never mind. Very, very whippy look. Loads of volume coming in, absolutely no direction. S&P, same price action. So we'll see where we go. So the Dow Jones, I've done targets on that, haven't I? No, I haven't. I'm just going to leave those as they are, I think, just 5R. That's just under ADR, which is fine. Absolutely no reason to get out there at all. These lows here, which is ADR. So I'm going to move my target down into that propulsion gap towards ADR. So either the market rallies to ADR today or I'll bank losses. If it's just going to do this all day, not a lot I can do with it, is there? Nah. Right. So that's all I've got on the Forex side of things. So we're just waiting at the moment for some kind of news and movement, because at the minute all we've got is kind of ever such slight variations on the news. We're not getting any variances, rather. We're not getting any big strong pushes in either direction on anything. So the Aussie dollar unemployment rate is the next big news tomorrow. Then we've got the unemployment claims for the US. Then we got Powell speaking in the afternoon. But other than that, we're kind of done for news for the week. So we're all kind of hovering, waiting for something to come up in here. Morgan Stanley shares fall. So Morgan Stanley's had a miss. So yeah, that's probably why we're getting that rally down on the Dow. Beat estimates on trading, but shares dip as wealth management disappoints. I read that wrong. Look, Morgan Stanley beats estimates. I read that as beats earnings. That's me being an idiot. So yeah, that's why the Dow's coming down. Right. Anybody got anything else they want to look at on the FX side while we're waiting for these indices to decide what the hell they're doing? Pound Swiss ADR. They're running for the hills. Everybody, be careful. Running into safe havens. Something's going on. I've had the news on all morning. I've got it turned off. Just keep your eyes peeled on this. We're getting another run into the safe havens, as you can see. So another potential 200 ADR move, potentially on the Swiss francs. So just be careful today. Could have some big ADRs going in on the Swiss. Also, yen. Watch the yen. We don't seem to be running into the yen at the moment. Aussie dollar yen's coming down. Euro yen's coming down. Pound yen's coming down. New Zealand yen's coming down. So US dollar yen, as you can see, is going nowhere because we tend to get a run into the US dollar as well, which makes the indices come down. So this is another reason why the indices are weak today. If we're running into the US, you can see how strong that Swiss franc is. If we've got a rally on the US, we've got a rally on the yen, we've got a rally on the Swiss franc at the same time. You can see who's winning the race at the moment, Swiss franc. Everybody's piling into the Swissy. Safest place to put your money in any type of emergency. Gold will probably be rallying as well. Yeah, 175 ADR on gold. Yeah, so don't try and mean revert this. Look at what happened on Friday. Yeah, this is the market panicking about Israel. So be careful. Buy the yen, buy the US dollar, buy the Swiss. If you're the other way on it, sit there and wait. Nothing you can do. Afternoon, Baggy. Afternoon, Amy. Zaytak. You don't trade the US 30? Yeah. I just have. Gold's on a mission? Yeah. So basically, this is, as I just said, this is the safe haven run again. So you just forget any support resistance. Yeah, doesn't make any difference. If there's a safe haven rally running, it will just go where the hell it likes when it wants to. So this could well just continue to rally today. 175. What did we get on Friday? Let's have a look. So Friday we did 626, 225 ADR. So that was 300 ADR, just under. About 250 maybe on Friday. We're only sitting at 175 at the moment. Obviously, we only got up to 225 because it's only 2% of the year we ever get above that level. So that's potentially where you could be sitting, top propulsion gap, at some point today if this continues to rally. May not. Who knows? Mumo, question on the SIH. Would a close all trades at X at % of loss feature be useful? I don't think so, but if you do, just close them. Don't know. As you know, I don't build stuff for full automation. If you want to trade it, watch it. You need to be here watching what's going on for exact reasons like this. Yeah. If this is all kicking off in the news, you need to get on your positions and shut them. They're going too far against you. But yeah, I mean, you could just close out everything at a position. I mean, I can build anything into my products, obviously, but there are also products out there that can do all this for you. So rather than me manufacturing, and this is where I went wrong with the market reversal alert CA. I built the market reversal alert CA to do what I wanted it to do in position trading. Hundreds of people asked me for different things. So what I ended up with an EA with over 50,000 lines of code, and I think there's over 50 inputs in it. It's complicated as hell. People struggle to even understand how it works. And it takes about 7 hours to backtest a week in the strategy tester because it's got so much code going on. So I built into that everything everybody asked for, and it became a complicated mess. I'd much rather just build it to do a particular function. And if you want it to close out all of your trades at a percentage of loss, get another EA out there, which shuts off when it gets to a percentage in loss. So get an EA that does that specific thing, either built for you or there's loads out there that will do it, and get it to manage that piece of functionality. Because if I build that in, then I have to build something in for someone else, and all of a sudden you just end up with inputs and everyone goes, I have no idea what any of this does. And no one can use the products. So I could do anything, obviously, but it just gets too complex in the end. So, but if you're like today, for example, if you want to set on the Dow your TPs at yesterday's low here, right? And it doesn't bounce. If it gets down to there and you're in 4% of loss, yeah, close it out. Or get an EA to say close at 4%. But I would rather not risk that. You're better off taking a 1.3% loss right now today than risking a 4% loss on the chances of a bounce at yesterday's low, when if you look at where we are in relation to ADR, it's absolutely miles away. Yeah, 58% of the time the market spends within its average daily range, but 48% of the time it gets to that level. If you're getting out here, there's a 48% chance it's going to end up down there. Why would you take profit there? It's just not worth the risk, is it? Just lock in that 1.3% loss and go, oh, well, today's not the day. You've got to take losses. Better to take small losses than take ridiculously big losses because you're chancing a bounce. There's a good chance it will bounce here. The question is, that's the range that we're trading today, yeah? Will it bounce that far? If it does, you're out with a break even. If it doesn't, you're in an awful amount of loss, aren't you? It's just not worth risking, in my opinion. The testing I've done, I had additional scale-ins on one version of the EA when I was developing it, so that it would automatically scale in at ADR extremes. Some days where you get 225 ADR days, it would lose 40 grand, literally. Because if this thing, I've said it before, this thing, when you think it can't go any further, will turn around and go, I can go twice as far as you can possibly withstand your bank account to get to. Yeah. So if you get to ADR and you take a reversal at ADR and it goes 150 ADR and you go, it can't go much further than that. It goes to 200 ADR. You go, nah, you can't go any further than that. It goes to 250 ADR. Your account will pop before these guys will stop selling it. So it's just not worth the risk. It's very rare it'll happen. But when it does happen, it will wipe out all your profit for months, literally for months. It's just an account killer. It's just not worth doing. This is the whole purpose of it. If the market is whippy and crappy and doesn't know where it's going, let's just walk away and go, right, fine, I'll come back tomorrow. Because tomorrow I'll make 2.5 grand. Just it's not tradable at the moment. Unless you've shorted it from that rejection on the high, which was everybody that is support resistance bounce trading now is going, ha ha, we got it right. And everybody that is support resistance bounce trading, when it breaks out, we go, ha ha, we got it right. And everybody always will get it right sometimes, won't they? Because there's always somebody wanting to do the opposite of what you're doing, which is why the market moves up and down. But you're never going to get it right every time. You've got to manage the risk, though. At the minute, as you can see, we are absolutely clueless as to direction. So just sit and wait. It's funny how if you take the exact opposite entries to the EA, you can still be just as profitable. Yeah. Yes. If you have a lot of people have tried to do this in the past. Sorry, one sec. A lot of people in the past have tried to reverse strategies that don't work. So it's one of the, there's lots of people done videos on this. If you get a strategy or an EA that you buy and the profit curve goes like that, everybody assumes that if you reverse it, it will go like that. But that isn't how it works, because the only way a strategy is profitable or makes a loss is based on the location of the stop loss and the take profit. If you flip them round, it doesn't make a strategy profitable. If you've got a strategy where you're hedging something, you could literally take the trade in any direction and it will pretty much do the same thing. Because all we're doing is we're locking in a risk of that much and waiting to see what happens. But lots of strategies out there, you know, so like you get these moving average crossover strategies where everyone goes long when you get the moving average crossover. If you actually go short when you get the moving average crossover, it's more successful, because by the time you get to the moving average crossover, the market's already moved, because this is telling you what's happened in the past, the moving average. So you go the opposite direction to it. And that is actually a really good strategy. But the risk reward has got to be big enough to make it work. And you can't use the same risk reward as if you were trading a trend strategy with a moving average, because it's a completely different way of trading, different risk reward sort of profile that you have on a mean reversion strategy as opposed to a breakout or a trend strategy. So you can't just flip them, unfortunately. Would be nice, because I've found a hell of a lot of strategies that don't work in the past. I'd have an absolute army of them. It'd be brilliant. Doesn't work that way, though. Unfortunately. DAX approaching last week's low. We're through last week's low. Oh, no, sorry, we're not. No, we're not. That's last week's low there. So we got previous day's low on the DAX, which we seem to be sailing straight through. So yeah, watch this whole area here. Can't see, can you? On the DAX. So that's last week's low. We've got all these lows here, this whole area. So we broke long, massive support. Not interested in going through that area. So watch that whole zone there for a good buy. Anywhere around ADR, basically. So that's ADR. but anywhere around there. Good chance of getting limit order bounce out there because that's where the market participants were constantly buying it back there. So good opportunity for a trade. NASDAQ's not going anywhere at all today. Look, we're not even out of the opening range. Look, so that's your opening range, your initial cash balance. We haven't even exited it. We're half an hour in. We haven't even managed to get out of that range yet. S&P ever so slightly down, but buyers are buying it back up again constantly. Look, Dow is struggling to get through pre-market lows. There's no volume. Well, there's lots of volume, just no direction today. Sit back, wait, see where it goes. Today, for me, the NAS is a great example of how backtesting and live is so different. I got long with pre-market, got manual exit 2R. In backtesting, I'd be hedged. You're never going to get the same result in backtesting. Backtesting is great for proving strategy robustness, basically, but it's got nothing to do with how it's going to perform in the future. It tells you if it's got a chance of performing in the future, but until you forward test anything, it's impossible to tell. Brian, suicide mode today. I'm actually trading 30-second, 5-minute charts on the NAS. That is suicide mode. 30-second charts. That is silly. You're trading algorithmic chop. Market's looking like it wants to go long across the board at the moment, apart from the DAX. This is really weird price action today. Look at this DAX. Really, really, really strong sell-off on the DAX. Everything else in the US is being propped up. Something not right today. Very, very odd price action. You won't get the same price action across all the indexes, but normally you'd see them all trying to do the same thing. This DAX is absolutely collapsing. It's almost as if the motor industry's fallen out of bed or something. Iran and Saudi are meeting to discuss what's going on. CAD Swiss ADR. So we got more Swiss franc strength coming through on the CAD. Got 2 longs on that one. I'm really tempted to get out of these shorts. This is really bullish price action we're seeing here at the moment. It's dangerous. I can re-hedge it. Definitely not recommended. No, 30-second charts. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, everything's flipping a coin at the end of the day, isn't it? You're just flipping a coin every 30 seconds instead of every minute. So it's twice as much danger as trading the 1-minute charts, which is 5 times more danger than trading the 5-minute charts, which is dangerous enough as it is. But anyway. Okay, I'm closing shorts on the Dow. I'm just doing this on one of the instruments, not on both. If I do it on both and it fails, I've got twice as much crap to deal with. So by doing it on this one only, I've got a good chance, if I can get this one into a nice profit higher than $1,700, this pays that and we're off. And I'm done for the day. So market is pushing long at the moment. Obviously, as you can see. Why have you just closed out my shorts? Closed out in profit. Okay. Oh, of course, it's doing the aggressive move, isn't it? That's exactly what the EA should be doing, is getting me out of my position with half of my profit. My profit banked was 1150, so it's got me out of what I asked it to do. That isn't what I was intending to do, but hey, it's a profit. So just got to deal with a hedge on the NASDAQ now. See, now I'm not so sure. Wiki as hell, isn't it? I got $500 banked on those two, so walking away with $1,100 loss at the moment. Impossible to read this price action. That was lucky escape on that DOW. Look at it, absolute mess. Brian, you must be dying. If you look at this on the 1 minute chart, I can't look at it on there. I'm going to look at it on the other platform. If you look at the NASDAQ on the 1 minute chart and look at what an absolute nightmare this is. If you were trying to pick any direction on this thing today. Yeah. So if you'd have seen this drop and you'd have gone, hey, look, there's a rejection at those lows. There's a bull candle. I'm going long. Stop loss under there. You didn't even get to 1R before it came back down again. And you would have either then be still sitting in this or pretty much stopped out in probably a break even. If you'd have tried to go long or short on any price action signal you've had, literally in the last 15 or 20 minutes, you're dead. It's an utter mess. It's really good fun trading the 1 minute chart. When the 1 minute chart is trending like crazy, like that, yeah. If you get into one of those on the 1 minute chart, you can just double your account in a session. It's so rare that you're ever going to catch something like that. You get killed before you get there. Utter mess. So huge sell, huge buy, all squashed. Flip a coin. Aussie dollar Swiss ADR. So massive rally going into the Swiss franc. Still no movement on US yen. Totally stuck. Up 1100, out at 660. Yeah, I would just walk away, Brian. If you try and trade this today, the best thing you can do, look at this. Look at it. Look at the S&P. That is the luckiest escape I think I've ever had. Look at it. What a mess. Now it's actually rallying to the downside again, or trying to, look. I haven't got a clue. I'm just going to take this loss today. There's absolutely nothing I can do about this today. So banked $1,000. Going to take a $700 loss today. Unless this moves. So basically the only way I'm out of this today is if this decides actually, yeah, let's go for it. Other than that, I'm not interested. Any of these levels, it's just everything's too close to where we are. to really be reliable for a bounce today. So this is just one of those days where you just need to go, screw you, market, I'm out. It's not going to happen. So just leave it today. I'm lucky to get away with what I got away with today. It's just been a very, very choppy day across the board today. As you can see with the DAX this morning, it's just a real mess. So we'll leave it on that. So yeah, FX wise, obviously at the moment the market is in panic mode with the Swiss franc. So there's not a lot you can do about this. If the market is going to buy the Swissy, if you've got a load of Swiss exposure on long, pound Swiss 125 ADR, we're 150 on the euro now. If you've got a load of exposure opposite direction on the Swissy, you are going to get a pullback. Yeah, it won't continue forever. This move will get bought back out. But whether or not they buy it all out or hold 50% or more, you won't find out really until the following days. So if you've got too much exposure on it, you might just want to scale out of some of it and take 50% of it off just to reduce the rate of drawdown on it. But we could well just bounce straight back out of this and do a V-shaped recovery. All this is the market panicking as they did on Friday with what's going on in Israel. It looks like it's all starting to escalate over there. We've got Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan all now speaking about what's going on and blaming Israel for the hospital bombing, whereas the US are now sitting in there going, it looks like Hamas did this. Yeah, so you've basically got two sides. Neither of them can prove anything. 500 dead people or however many, and every country surrounding Israel against Israel. Yeah. And then you've got the US and the West sitting in Israel going, no, you're not coming in type thing. So basically, it's all going to kick off unless they can be talked down. So the markets are just going to run all money into safe havens, Swiss, US, and yen. At the moment, it looks like the Swiss is the favorite, obviously, which it was also on Friday. So everything else you'll find will just not really do anything because money will either be pulled out of it to put into the Swiss or it will just be left there and they'll pull it out of other currencies. You'll find some currencies will be moving harder than others. Just basically, if you look at the ADR dash, you can see at the moment they're pulling it all out the euro and putting it into the Swissy. It's coming out the pound as well. So you can tell by the ADR dash where the money's being pulled from. The ones that move the furthest are the ones that are getting money pulled out of the pound into the Swiss. So if we get de-escalation and it all starts to calm down, all these moves will just literally get undone. It'll flip V-shaped recoveries on a lot of it, but you can't tell. So just be a little careful with anything Swissy. If you need to release a bit of pressure, release some pressure. But you will be able to get out of it at some point. It's just a case of waiting. And also stock markets tend to come down when we have this type of movement, but usually because the US dollar is going up. And at the moment, I can't see any particular proof of that at all. US dollar is going up against the CAD, but look at it against the Swiss. Look at it against the pound. It's not really rallying, is it? So there's not a lot of money coming into this US dollar. It's all going Swiss way at the minute. And as you can see, there's a bit of money coming into the yen, but the Swissy's smashing the yen as well. So, but too late to get in on them. Oil. Don't forget, we've got oil inventories at 3:30 this afternoon as well. So if that is the gap fill done, hasn't done it to the pip, but if that is the gap fill done, and it looks like it by the rejection, although it's coming down again now at the moment, we could be looking at a run back up this afternoon, back above ADR. So we'll see what happens with the oil inventories. It doesn't matter what the oil inventories are, whether they're positive, negative, they will move the market the direction they want to when the oil inventories come out. That's 3:30 in 15 minutes time. So watch oil. We could get a nice rally off of that as well today. I'm not going to add any more onto this. I've got this one position on here. I've taken 3 off in profit. I've got that one, which I'm running up to the highs. So I'll be watching sort of 200 ADR to the upside. We're not going to get that today, but looking at $100 a barrel plus. So just keep buying every dip as we go. That's the plan. That's all I got for you today. There's nothing much else to look at. Indices are just a complete mess. Not a clue where it's going. So just leave it today and come back tomorrow and go, right, whatever. But if you are in these and you do want to look for exits on them, support resistance. But your guess is as good as mine as support resistance today. Absolutely anywhere can bounce. So pick one, cross your fingers. That's all you can do, or just accept the loss and walk away, which is the best thing to do. All right, so have a good day. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 7:50 for the Frankfurt session, 2:20 for the US. Anything that happens that I spot, I'll update in Telegram. I'll ask Congress for an unprecedented support package for Israel later this week. So yeah, basically just keep your eyes peeled on this. We're watching for escalation and de-escalation. Fear. Buy the safe havens. I found the NASDAQ respects mid 5-minute market opens. Never looked at that. But if you say so, try it, test it. I don't know. There's a million ways to trade. So I'll leave it there today. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow and we'll see where we go. Aussie dollar, anything you're holding overnight, be aware of the unemployment rate overnight. So you're going to get some movement there. All right. Have a good day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.